नमो भगवते देवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. So welcome to all devotees. So yesterday we did up to verse 30 and lesson 8. So today we start from text 31. So who will read the English part? Rian, should you like to read the English one?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Text 31. स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि धर्म्याधियुधा श्रेयोऽन्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते.
Translation. Considering yourself, your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation.
Text 32. यदृच्छया चोपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारम् अपावृतम् सुखिन क्षत्रिया पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धम् ईदृशम्.
O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come on earth, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
Text 33. अथ चेत्त्वम् इमं धर्म्यं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि तथा स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापम् अवाप्स्यसि.
If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
Text 34. अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्यहाम् सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिर्मरणाद् अतिरिच्यते.
People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than that.
Text 35. भयादरनादुपारतं मांस्यन्ते त्वां महारथा येषां च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यस्यासि लाघवम्.
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will conquer you insignificant.
Text 36. अवाच्य वादांश्च बहून् विदिष्यन्ति तवाहिता नीदन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरं नु किम्.
Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
Text 37. हतो वा प्राप्स्यासि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महिम् तस्मात् उत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चया.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight.
Text 38. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yudyasva naivam papam avapsyasi.
Though Though to fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin.
So this word is thou. Do thou fight. Text 39. Esha te bihita sankhye buddhir yoge tvimam shrinu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi.
Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
Text 40. Neha bhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya rayate mahato bhayat.
In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Text 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana bahu shakhahya nantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam.
Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Gurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched.
Text 42 to 43. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipashchita vedavadarata partha nanyad astiti vadinaha kamatmanah swargapara janma karma phala pradam kriya vishesha bahulam Bhogaishwarya gatim prati.
Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this.
Text 44. Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam tayapahrita chetasham vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate.
Lost you, Rianch. He's not there.
No. Sitaram Prabhu, would you like to continue?
Hare Krishna. It's text 44.
Yes, Prabhu.
Translation. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place.
Text 45. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nishtragunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvandho Nitya Sattvasto Niryogakshema Atmavan.
Translation. The Veda deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature. O Arjun, become transcendental to these three modes, be free from the dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self.
Text 46. यावानर्थ उदप्राणे सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्रह्मणस्य विजानतः.
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Veda can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Text 47. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूर्मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि.
You have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the result of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
Text 48. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate.
Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjun, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga.
Text 49. Durena yavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanam avinchicha kripana palahetava.
O Dhananjay, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender into the Lord those who want to enjoy the fruit of their work or misers.
Text 50. Buddhi yukto jahatiha udhe sukrita dushkrite tasmad yogaya yugyasva yoga karamana so kaushalam.
A man engaged in devotional service rides himself of both good and bad reactions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work.
Text 51. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyagva manishina janma bandha vinirmukta padam gacchantya namayam.
By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the result of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond the miseries by going back to Godhead.
Text 52. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha.
When the intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard.
Text 53. Shruti vipratipanna yada sthasyati nischala samadhava chala buddhis tada yogam avapsyasi.
When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Veda, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness.
So summary of the verses from 31 to 53. How does such knowledge practically affects our day-to-day life in the real world? Krishna addresses this by explaining the two essential duties of the spirit soul. Dharma translates as duty, but it actually refers to intrinsic characteristics and qualities are something that cannot be avoided, neglected, or negated. Two types of dharma are as follows. The soul has a swadharma, a worldly duty which consists of responsibilities towards family, friends, and society connected to the body. The soul has a sanatan dharma, an eternal spiritual duty which comprises of one's relationship with God, nature, and all living entities, spirit souls. So the lesson 9, one has to learn to execute both dharmas side by side. Many individuals neglect their Sanatan Dharma, becoming too preoccupied by their Swadharma. On the extreme, individuals can prematurely reject their Swadharma and falsely try to absorb themselves in Sanatan Dharma. The most progressive path is to be fully alert to both duties, and in doing so lead a happy and balanced material and spiritual life. So very important that we have to do both dharma. Any comment, Prabhuji?
Mm. Yes, side by side, isn't it? It's and the beauty is the way Krishna has set up Varnashram is whatever our nature is, we can do our duty within our nature and be content. For example, if one has Brahminical qualities, then if he has to raise money, for example, he will find it quite hard. But if one has a Vaishya quality, Vaishya, a businessman, he will be very happy to collect money, right? Because that's his nature. But if you ask a Vaishya to find a verse in the Vedas, he would struggle. But if you ask a Brahmin to find a verse in the Vedas, he would love it. So whatever our nature is, whatever our swadharma is, the way Krishna has laid it out in the Varnashram system, it works as long as we follow our nature and work within the Varnashram system. So there's no harm doing our duty, because Krishna actually says to Arjuna, do your duty. If you don't do your duty, then even I do my duty, Krishna says. But our main duty, eternal duty, is actually Sanatan Dharma, our connection as soul to the super soul, to the Supreme Lord. And we cannot lose track of that. So both of these, Swadharma and Sanatana, has to go hand in hand. So that's quite important to understand. And we shouldn't neglect one for the other, which is, I think, what you said. Any questions or discussion, Naniben, Prabhabin?
Can you go to verse 48, please? Sorry, Mataji, but
Carry on.
go to verse 48 or 47.
Yes, Mataji.
Text, yes. I mean, text, yes. Yeah, there's one thing here. It's on 47 first, that never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities and never be attached to not doing your work. Does that mean that we have always to do our prescribed duty? Never be attached to not doing your work.
He's saying be attached to your duty. Get your duty done.
Yes, get your work done, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
get your work done.
But at the same time, Krishna is saying, get your work done, but don't think that you are the cause of the result of your work. That is my doing. All you have to do is to do your duty. The rest is up to me. Whether you're successful or you are not successful, that is beyond your control. I control that. This is what Krishna is saying.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to accept because, we are thinking, I'm doing this. Any success or failure is my, is mine. But what Krishna is saying, no. Just do your duty. Be happy with that you have done your duty. Then don't worry about the result. And if we can achieve that, then we will achieve happiness, because then we won't care if we lose, and we won't be too jubilant if we win. We'll be always steady. That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
What's
Krishna.
the difference between Sarva Dharma and Sanatana Dharma?
Karuna, would you like to take that?
Swadharma is whatever you're doing in your real life. So I'm going to work. I have my family to take care of. I had my old parents to take care of. So everything that we are doing in the body. So this worldly duty, this will be Swadharma. Sanatan Dharma is mostly linked to the soul. So the soul has a spiritual duty and a spiritual relationship with God. And whatever we have to do with this relationship, this is the difference. So Swadharma is the relationship we have with our family, with our friends, with the society. Whereas Sanatan Dharma is the relationship with God and whatever we have to do in connection with God. So doing an arti, doing the service in the temple, or chanting our mantras, doing bhajans. So all these will be Sanatan Dharma, whatever we engage with the Lord. Does this answer the question?
Yeah, is it the same thing that you are doing your duty for your family?
It's two different types of duty. One is connected to the body,
Mm.
and one is mostly connected to the soul and with God.
All right,
So
now got it. Then.
Yeah, going to work, cooking for the family, everything is connected to the body. So this is Swadharma.
Oh.
And then if I'm doing an arti, if I'm singing a bhajan, so this is connecting with God. So this is Sanatan Dharma.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Good.
Shall we continue?
Yeah.
Text 54. Arjuna Uvacha. Oh, no, sorry. Puja Mataji, would you like to read the English part?
Yes, Mataji, thank you.
Text 54. Arjuna Uvacha. Sita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sithadi kim prabhasheta kimashita vrajeta kim.
Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit and how does he walk?
Text 55. Shri Bhagavana Uvacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atmanyevatmana Pushta Sita Prajnastadochyate.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness.
Text 56. Dukheshwanudvigna mana Sukheshu vigata spriha Vitaraga bhaya krodha Sita dhir muni ruchyate.
One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called the sage of steady mind.
Text 57. Ya sarvatranabhisnehas tat prapya shubha shubham nabhinandati na dveshti tasya prajna pratishtita.
In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge.
Text 58. Yada samharate chayam kurmo jnaniva sarvashah indriyanindriyatebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita.
One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness.
Text 59. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate.
Thus, the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment. The taste for sense object remains, but ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in consciousness.
Text 60. Yatato yapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitah indriyani pramatini haranti prasabham mana.
The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjun, that they forcibly carry away the mind, even if a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them.
Text 61. Tani sarvani samyanya yukta asita matparaha vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita.
One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence.
Text 62. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho vijayate.
While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises.
Text 63. Krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibrama smriti bramshat buddhi nasho buddhi nashat pranashyati.
From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool.
Text 64. Raga dvesha vimuktaistu vishayan indriyaischaran atma vashyar vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati.
But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord.
Text 65. Prasade sarva dukhanam hani dasyopajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi paryavatishtate.
For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established.
Text 66. Nasti buddhira yuktasya na cha yuktasya bhavana na cha bhavayata shantir ashantasya kuta sukham.
One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace?
Text 67. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmanodnu vidhiyate tadasya harati padnyam vayurnavam nivamhasi.
As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence.
Text 68. Tasmadasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashah indriyanindriyatebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita.
Therefore, Almighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from the objects is certainly of steady intelligence.
Text 69. Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune.
What is night for all beings is a time of awakening for the self-controlled. And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage.
Text 70. Apuryamana machala pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sa shanti mapnoti na kamakami.
A man who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enters like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires.
Text 71. Vihaya kamanya sarvan Pumamscharati nispriha nirmano nirahankara sa shantim adhigacchati.
A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, and who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace.
Text 72. Esha brahmi sthiti partha nainam prapya vimuyati Sthitvasyam antakalepi brahma nirvanam richati.
That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Hare Krishna.
The end of chapter 2. The summary of the verses 54 to 72. How he sits, restrain senses. How does he walk, engage his senses? And how does he talk, response in provocative situations? The profile of the person who has performed both the duties perfectly is described by the Lord. Such a person becomes an Atmara, a spiritually realized soul who finds pleasure in the self. Krishna explains how the Atmaram is unaffected by happiness or distress, gain or loss, honor or dishonor. Transcending the dualities of this world, such a spiritualist rids himself of qualities such as fear, attachment, and anger, and remains absorbed in spiritual delight and transcendental consciousness. Lesson 10. If you are able to restrain the senses by nipping it in the bud, then we will save ourselves a great deal of grief and anguish, and will, with the blessings of Guru and Gauranga, be on the way to become self-satisfied in Krishna consciousness. even wise living in this crazy material world. So before you want something, think at least 3 times. Do I really need this item? So, any comments, Prabhu?
Yeah. This is based on verse number 62, which basically says as soon as you see something, you're going to get attached to it.
Mhm.
And it's so true. You know, you go to, I don't know, Govindas, you look at the wonderful desserts, immediately, you know, the taste buds, the water, you know, in the mouth, there's a, you know, the desire to taste. So this is the problem that we have, that as soon as we see a sense object, we begin to desire it and get attached to it. We want it. We think we can't live without it, sort of thing. Maybe not that drastic, but it comes to a stage where we think, okay, you know, I have to have this. So what the sages do is they nip it in the bud. Guru Maharaj, one of his sayings was nip it in the bud. So even before we get attracted to the sense, we try to withdraw our senses. And if we get attracted to something, this question, do I really need this? It's important to ask that of ourselves. Do I really need this? Most things we buy, we don't actually need. Don't even have any use for them. They're just hanging around. So if we can live like this, that we need the minimum amount, then we will sail through material life, because you know we won't have any you know, desires or demands, you know. So this is fantastic advice, and Krishna is really giving an example, so many examples of how when the sage sees the senses being attacked, he immediately withdraws himself, like the tortoise when it's under attack. His limbs go within the shell, to protect himself. So this is really good advice. Krishna's given some insight into the thinking of the sage.
Sometimes when we withdraw the senses forcefully, then when we see something that, like you say, in a restaurant, something to eat or something very sensuous, then immediately your senses take control of you again. Yeah, so it is. So it's a bit difficult in this material world to control it forcibly. Otherwise, it will come out like a jack in the box.
That's true. Krishna also says that the person who artificially is withdrawing from but is always thinking about the senses, about the sense objects. Well, what's the point of that? You know, if you're always thinking, as you said, it'll be the jack in the box. You know, it'll come out in a much worse way. So it's our thinking that we have to, through our intelligence, in fact, we can try to curb the you know, the desires of the mind. And as you said, it's not easy. It's not easy in this world. Very, very, very hard. Even for those who are trying to be on this, you know, bhakti path or transcendental path, it's very, very tough to try to control the mind and the senses. No doubt about it. But somehow Krishna gives us, and by reading enough times this Bhagavad Gita, he gives us the tools, the knowledge by which we can, you know, like try. And then we have to take his shelter. My dear Lord, I'm going to try, but you've got to help me. If you don't help me, what chance have I got? So I think that's the trick, to ask the Lord, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hari Bol.
Yes, Siddharth.
Hare. Yes, you know, you have given us very good advice, but you know, we ancient devotees, we read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Chamritanu, such and such books. So we must every day when we read this Bhagavad Gita, we must put it in practice. Every devotee we see, we meet in the anywhere, we just tell them Hare Krishna Prabhu. Those that person will not answer, we should have the tendency to love everyone. And Lord Krishna, somewhere he has said in the Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, everywhere, it is our duty. He likes when those devotees or ourselves, anyone who is a devotee, not only devotees, those people, they are also those who are notified, they can learn. We should practice Krishna consciousness every day. Anytime death can come, Prabhuji. So we must think and please anyone will wait. Okay, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Good advice. Good advice. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, so
Yeah.
I would like to add something. Just like you were saying, when we go to the Govindas, we have the big laddus and our eyes, our tongues, everything. We like to take this laddu, but then we have fasting. So if we convince ourselves that we have to do some fasting, like Ekadashi or different fasting that we have, so at least we are trying to control the tongue for at least one day, and then maybe little by little we'll be able to control this tongue as not eating so many or chanting more. And then maybe there is this association with the devotees. So this also helps us to control the senses, control the mind, and eating prasadam, and then all these contribute to in the spiritual life to control the senses. And association with Guru, association with the books of Srila Prabhupada, so satsang, so all these help us to control the senses, control the mind. Yeah.
Good. Very good point. The fasting is very important. Yes. It helps. But mind you, after a fast, feast is required. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Because I think we are in the Maya. Maya, you know,
yes.
Maya. And that's why we are attached to it. And that's the reason it's difficult to do, take away our it's to do all spiritual things. It is not easy because we are joined into Maya, like eating, drinking, going out, things like that. As Mataji said earlier, going to restaurant, you fancy eating something, and then you will say, no, you don't want it. But then your mind is telling, no, you will have it. Oh, it's all right, I can have it. So that's why I'm just telling that, because we are into Maya and it's difficult to come out from that Maya. So I think it is still difficult.
No doubt.
To come out from it, but we all try. We want to try to get our happiness, to get the happiness from as a spiritual from our soul. And if something is nice in front of you, you say, oh, you're not going to have that, then just take it out from your mind and just leave it. That's it.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
You know this Atma Rama, the spiritually realized soul.
Yes.
They say who finds pleasure in the self. So it's like very advanced. It's like a Vaishnav. What are we talking about?
Correct.
Yeah.
Krishna is also described as Atmaram, self-satisfied, but also devotees who are on that level are also described in the same way. That's very true.
Okay.
Karuna, anything you want to share or add?
There is one more bit here, the characteristics of the soul. So shall we go through this?
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
So the characteristics of the soul. So we have eternal, changeless, indestructible, imperishable, immeasurable, neither the slayer nor slain, no birth, no death has come into being, there is not come into being, will not come into being. He is unborn, he is ever existing, is primeval, immutable, cannot be cut into pieces, not burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by wind, unbreakable, insoluble, neither burned or dried, everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, eternally the same, invisible, inconceivable, amazing.
Immovable mean, Prabhuji, unchangeable we know. Yes, it doesn't change at all. Immovable, it's not.
Immutable, right? Wait a minute. Where's that immovable?
Number
Number
20,
24.
Oh, immovable. Right. Immovable.
immovable.
I'm not sure in what context that's immovable. Yeah,
Immovable.
good question. Good question. But Krishna says it in text 24.
Yes, let's.
We can have a look at text 24. Yeah, let's have a look at text 24. Yeah, I think he does say immovable, but then maybe in the verse, in the purport, Krishna may explain it. I mean, Prabhupada may explain it. Immovable, eternally the same.
Yeah.
Immovable.
I read up in the purport.
Yeah. Have a look at it. See if
Have a
there's
look.
anything in the purport. Yeah, interesting though. Yeah, I didn't.
Immovable.
Good one. I like that. Thank you for picking that up.
Eternally the same. Immovable. Krishna is immovable. Krishna is achyuta, isn't it? Does not fall down.
Yeah, that's right. Infallible. We
Infallible,
are.
yes, immovable. I'll check it. Thank you.
Yeah, please. Thank you. You can let us know tomorrow. Huh?
So, is it all right if I can say? I think it's talking about the soul, that the soul is unbreakable, and soul can't be burned, or soul can't be dry, and soul is everlasting and is everywhere, unchangeable, and even you can't move your soul. Does it make any sense? And it is still the same.
Yeah, it's just that immovable bit. I'm not quite sure.
See, you can't move your soul anywhere. That means immovable. I mean, if it's okay, but maybe it might be different.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we'll try to work that one out.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Sorry, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay, so we can stop there. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Yay.
Very good. Record.